There's a question that stops most early retirement plans cold, and it's not, do I have enough money? Everyone figures that out one way or another. It's, am I ready for what happens next? My name is Patrick Shope, and I'm the founder of Shope & Associates. Today, we're covering two major benefits and three significant risks of early retirement that go way beyond just having enough money saved. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the full picture of what early retirement really entails so that you can make a decision that's right for your specific situation. Let's start with the benefits because honestly, they're pretty compelling. The first benefit is obvious, but worth diving into. Lifestyle and freedom. When you retire early, you're not just leaving a job, you're reclaiming complete control over your time. Think about it. When's the last time you had total freedom to structure your day exactly how you want it? To travel when flights are cheaper and destinations are less crowded. To spend Tuesday afternoon with your grandkids instead of waiting for the weekend. But here's the key insight most people miss. This freedom can actually become overwhelming if you don't have a vision for it. I've seen too many people retire early and then just feel lost because they define themselves by what they were escaping from, not what they were moving toward. So before you make the leap, ask yourself, what would you actually do with that freedom? Not just for the first month, but for years. Having that vision isn't just nice to have, it's essential for a successful early retirement. The second benefit is something we at Shope & Associates get excited about. Strategic tax and income planning opportunities. Here's why this matters. When you retire early, you typically have several years before Social Security kicks in and before required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts begin. And by the way, required minimum distributions generally start at age 73 today and at 75 beginning in 2033. This creates what I like to call a tax planning sweet spot. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're married in early retirement, living on savings or investment accounts. Your taxable income might be low enough that you could realize long-term capital gains at 0% tax. For 2025, the 0% rate applies up to $96,700 of taxable income for married couples filing jointly, and ordinary income uses up part of that band. For reference, ordinary income is the broad bucket of income that is taxed at regular rates, those marginal rates. Think wages and salaries, tips, business income, taxable interest, most retirement account withdrawals, short-term capital gains, and non-qualified dividends. It is different from long-term capital gains, which get their own preferential brackets. You could also consider Roth conversions from traditional IRAs at lower tax brackets than you've ever been in during your working years once you consult with a financial professional. Think of it this way. For the first time in decades, you're playing offense with your taxes instead of defense. You're making strategic moves because you have the time and flexibility to do so, rather than just trying to minimize taxes from a high-income year. Now, those benefits sound pretty great, right? But let's talk about the other side of the coin, because this is where many people's early retirement dreams can run into some roadblocks. The first risk is what we call longevity risk, which is the risk of outliving your savings, combined with sequence of returns risk, or better known as the risk that market may turn negative, thereby shortening the life of your savings. Here's an example. If you retire at 55, your portfolio might need to support you for 40 or even 50 years. That's a long time, and it makes your portfolio incredibly vulnerable to market downturns, especially early on. Here's why. If the market crashes in your first few years of retirement and you're withdrawing money to live on, you're selling those shares at lower prices than you originally anticipated. Those shares can't recover when the market bounces back because they're no longer in your portfolio. It's like starting a cross-country road trip with a potential fuel leak. You better be absolutely certain you have more than enough gas to make it. This is why the traditional 4% rule that many people rely on might be too aggressive for early retirees. You might need to plan for 3% or even 2.5% withdrawal rate initially, which means you need significantly more money saved than you might think. In the case where markets are volatile, having a cash buffer covering 1 to 2 years of expenses becomes crucial for riding out those inevitable market storms. The second major risk is the healthcare gap, and this one can really upend your plan. You're on your own for health insurance until Medicare kicks in at age 65. If you retire at 55, that's a full decade of private insurance premiums. Let me put this in perspective with a hypothetical example. Imagine a couple both age 58 looking at ACA marketplace plans. They could easily be looking at $2,000, maybe even $3,000 a month in premiums for decent coverage. Premiums alone over 10 years would be about $240,000 to $360,000. Add potential deductibles and out-of-pocket costs, and the total can push well into the $300,000s. The enhanced ACA subsidies currently scheduled through 2025 can reduce premiums if you keep income low. Now, there are strategies, ACA subsidies based on income, health sharing ministries, or even short-term consulting work that provides benefits. But this requires serious research and planning with a qualified professional. You can't just assume you'll figure it out when the time comes. The third risk might surprise you because it's not financial at all. It's the identity and purpose shift. For some people, their career provides structure, social connections, and a sense of identity. When you retire early, you're not just leaving a job, you're leaving all that behind. Here's a question that might make you feel a bit uncomfortable. Who are you without your job title? If you've been John the engineer or Sarah the marketing director for decades, retiring early means redefining yourself completely. Without a plan for meaningful activity and social connections, I've seen boredom and even some depression become serious issues that undermine an otherwise financially successful retirement. I've seen people who had the money figured out perfectly, but they struggled with this transition away from their career identity. The solution isn't necessarily to avoid early retirement. No, not at all. But to start building those alternative sources of purpose and community before you retire. Maybe that's volunteer work. Maybe it's turning a hobby into something more serious. Or maybe it's a phased retirement where you do some consulting or part-time work that you actually enjoy. So let's bring all this together. Early retirement offers incredible freedom and unique planning opportunities, but it also demands a more comprehensive plan, one that accounts for longevity risk, tax planning, healthcare gaps, and honestly, what you'll actually do with all that time. From what I've seen, the people who thrive in early retirement aren't just the ones with the biggest portfolios. They're the ones who've addressed 3 questions. Can my money withstand decades of market cycles? How will I handle healthcare until Medicare? And what will give me purpose when work isn't part of my identity? If you're seriously considering early retirement, we have a free planning tool that can give you a starting point. It'll provide basic projections and key insights about where you currently stand financially. You can find the link in the description of this video below. It's not a substitute for comprehensive planning, but it can help you to get a general idea of your standing. And if you found this helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We put out practical retirement planning insights every week that can help you make informed decisions about your own financial future. Again, this is Patrick Shope, and I'll see you next Thursday.